look at the mountain in front of you, the one that seems immovable, unclimbable, casting a shadow over your dreams, your finances, your health, your relationships. You've pushed, you've strained, you've prayed, and it hasn't budged. You've calculated the odds, you've looked at your own limited resources, and you've come to a conclusion. This is impossible. And you are right. By yourself, it is impossible. With your own strength, your own bank account, your own connections, your own wisdom, it is impossible. But you are not by yourself, you have a partner, the one who said in the Quran, and he is with you wherever you are. The feeling of hitting a wall is a universal human experience. It's that moment when you have given everything you have, every ounce of your energy, every clever idea, every last resource, and it simply wasn't enough. The wall remains immovable and imposing, a silent testament to your own limitations. In our modern world, which celebrates self-reliance, hustle culture, and the myth of the individual who pulls themselves up by their bootstraps, this feeling is not just discouraging, it is often framed as a personal failure. We are taught to believe that with enough effort, enough strategy, enough sheer willpower, any obstacle can be overcome. But what happens when willpower is exhausted? When strategy has failed? When effort has led only to burnout? This is the critical juncture where true faith begins, and where the first, most profound shift in our consciousness must occur, the transfer of reliance from our own finite power to the infinite, boundless power of Allah. This shift is not a passive surrender to fate. It is not a lazy capitulation. On the contrary, it is the most active and intelligent step a believer can take. It is an act of strategic realignment. Think of it as a craftsman who has been trying to carve a masterpiece using only a dull, flimsy knife. He struggles, he strains, he makes little progress, and he blames his own weak hands. Then, one day, he realizes he has access to a master workshop filled with the most precise, powerful, and sophisticated tools imaginable. The shift is to stop struggling with the inadequate knife and to learn how to operate the tools that can actually do the job. Our own strength, intelligence, wealth, and connections are that dull knife. They have their uses and their place, but to rely on them alone for life's greatest challenges is a recipe for frustration and defeat. Allah's power is the entire master workshop. He is not just a tool. He is the master craftsman, the designer of the project, and the source of the materials all at once. This is the essence of Tawad, the oneness of God, applied to our daily struggles. It is the recognition that all power, all agency, ultimately flows from a single divine source. The Quran constantly redirects our gaze from the creation to the creator, from the effect to the cause. When we are fixated on the problem, we see only the creation, the limited resources, the stubborn person, the failing body. But faith asks us to look through the creation to the Creator who is sustaining it and who has absolute command over it. The sea does not part because of Musa's ayest stick. It parts because the Creator of the sea commands it to. The fire does not cool because of some inherent property. It cools because the one who defined the very nature of fire can suspend its laws for his beloved servant. The real battle is not with the mountain itself, but with our own perception that the mountain is the ultimate reality. The ultimate reality is Allah, and the mountain, like everything else in existence, is completely subservient to His will. This is where the concept of tawakkul, so often misunderstood, finds its true meaning. People think of tawakkul means sitting back and waiting for God to act. That is not trust, that is negligence. True tawakkul is the entire process of the craftsman in the workshop. It is first acknowledging that the ultimate outcome is not in your hands. You cannot guarantee the masterpiece. Then it is taking the dull knife of your own effort and using it to the best of your ability, because that is what you have been instructed to do. You research, you plan, you work hard, you strive with excellence, ihsan. But you do so with your heart detached from the outcome, because your heart is firmly attached to the master craftsman, trusting that he will guide your hand, provide the right tools at the right time, and complete the work in a way that far exceeds your own limited blueprint. You strive as if everything depends on you, but you trust with the unshakable certainty that everything depends on Him. This shift liberates the soul from an unbearable burden. When we operate under the illusion of self-reliance, we carry the weight of the entire world on our shoulders. Every setback feels like a personal indictment. Every failure feels final. The anxiety is crushing because the responsibility for success, as we have defined it, rests solely on our fragile human shoulders. But when we make this shift, a profound peace descends. The burden is lifted. The weight of the universe was never ours to carry. It belongs to Al-Qawi, the all-strong, and Al-Qadir, the all-powerful. Our responsibility is not to control the outcome. Our responsibility is to perform our duty with sincerity and then to place our trust in the one who controls all outcomes. This is the peace that Prophet Muhammad as-Abidu spoke of when he said that the affair of the believer is entire, amazing, for it is all good. And this is for no one but the believer. If something good befalls him, he is grateful, and that is good for him. If hardship befalls him, he is patient, and that is good for him. His reliance on Allah transforms every single circumstance, success or failure, into a source of good. This does not mean the path becomes easy. It means the traveler is no longer walking alone, relying on a failing flashlight. It means the traveler is now walking in the broad daylight of divine support, guided by the sun. The challenges may still be steep, the road may still be long, but you are now fortified with a power that is not your own. You begin to see coincidences as divine arrangements. You see closed doors not as final rejections, but as divine redirections. You start to understand that Allah's plan is not just about giving you what you want, but about giving you what you need for your ultimate success in this life and the next. Your prayer changes from Allah, give me what I want, to Allah, handle this for me in the way that you know is best, and make me content with your decree. This is the point where the impossible begins to crack. It may not shatter in the way you imagined. It may not happen on your timeline. But when you have truly, sincerely shifted your reliance to Him, you have invited the architect of the impossible into your situation, and He will reconfigure reality in ways your mind could never have conceived. The mountain may not just move. You may find you have been given the strength to climb it, or that a tunnel has been carved through it, or that you have been provided with a new perspective from which the mountain is nothing but a small bump on a vast, beautiful horizon designed entirely for your journey home to Him. The concept of trust in Allah, of tawakkal, is perhaps one of the most misunderstood pillars of faith. To the outside observer, and even to many within the fold of belief, it can be misconstrued as a passive state, a quietist acceptance of whatever fate delivers, a spiritual excuse for inaction. Nothing could be further from the truth. The image of a believer sitting idly with their hands outstretched, waiting for sustenance to fall from the sky, is a caricature, not a representation of the dynamic, powerful, and deeply active state that true tawakkul embodies. It is not the absence of action, it is the presence of a specific quality of action, an action that is infused with a profound and unwavering consciousness of the divine. To take the first step with sincere action is to engage in a sacred partnership with the Creator of the heavens and the earth, where your role is to strive with every fiber of your being while your heart remains anchored in the certainty that the final outcome rests with Him. This principle is perfectly illustrated in the foundational story of the Hijrah. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his companion Abu Bakr did not simply stand in Mecca and pray for deliverance from the Quraysh who sought to kill them. They did not wait for angels to physically carry them to Medina. Instead, they enacted a plan of breathtaking audacity and meticulous detail. They secured a guide. They chose a route that defied conventional logic. They stocked provisions, and they sought refuge in the cave of Thar. This was the height of strategic, proactive effort. They used every worldly means at their disposal. And yet, at the very moment when their human effort had reached its absolute limit, trapped in a cave with their pursuer standing at its mouth, their tawakkul became their ultimate weapon. It was then that the divine intervention manifested. The spider spun its web, the dove laid its eggs, and the impossible became reality. The action was necessary, but the salvation was divine. This is the perfect symbiosis. You tie your camel, and then you trust in Allah to keep it safe. You do not just trust that it will be safe and leave it untethered. That is not trust, it is folly. This tying of the camel is the physical manifestation of your amen, your faith. It is the tangible expression of your belief in the sunnah of cause and effect that Allah has embedded within His creation. To seek a job, you must polish your resume. You must network. You must prepare for the interview. This is your striving. To recover from an illness, you must consult doctors. You must take the prescribed medicine. You must maintain a healthy lifestyle. This is your striving. To pass an exam, you must attend the lectures. You must study the material. You must practice the problems. Your effort is the vessel into which Allah's bounty and mercy are poured. An empty vessel, a passive soul that expects reward without work, is like a farmer who prays for a harvest but never plows the field or sows the seed. His prayer is a contradiction in terms, for he is asking for a result while refusing to engage with the process that Allah Himself has established as a prerequisite for that result. Your action is your prayer in motion. It is your dua made visible through your limbs. But herein lies the critical distinction that separates the striving of the believer from the striving of the one who relies only on themselves. The believer engages in action with a heart that is detached from the outcome. This is not a heart of apathy, but a heart of supreme trust. You work as if everything depends on you, but you release the anxiety, the desperation, the ego attachment to a specific result, because you know with certainty that everything truly depends on Allah. The one who relies on themselves is crushed by the weight of their own effort. Every setback is a personal failure. Every no is a reflection of their inadequacy. Their identity becomes entangled with their success. The believer, on the other hand, is liberated. They strive with a light heart and a peaceful mind. They give their best in the interview, but if the position goes to someone else, they understand it was not their errors, and they trust that Allah has something better in store. They take the medicine, but if the healing is delayed, they understand there is wisdom in the delay, and they seek the spiritual lessons within the physical trial. This state of heart transforms the very nature of your labor. Your work is no longer merely a means to a worldly end. It becomes an act of worship and ibadah. When you work with sincerity, integrity, and excellence, with ihsan, as if you see Allah, and even if you do not see Him, He sees you. You are worshipping Him through your action. The carpenter who meticulously crafts a chair is not just building furniture. He is manifesting the attributes of order, beauty, and skill that originate from Allah. The student who diligently studies is not just memorizing facts. She is fulfilling the command to seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave. This mindset elevates the mundane to the sacred. The first step you take is no longer just a step towards a worldly goal. It is a step on the path of worship, a step taken in obedience to the one who commanded us to strive in His cause. And when action is worship, then every effort, regardless of its immediate outcome, is a success. If you achieve your worldly goal, it is a blessing. If you do not, the reward for your sincere striving is recorded with Allah, and it is never lost. Therefore, taking that first step with sincere action is the physical proof of your tawakkul. It is the bridge between the faith in your heart and the tangible world around you. It is you saying, I believe in your promise so deeply that I am going to move my feet. I am going to get my hands dirty. I am going to engage with the system of cause and effect that you created, all the while knowing that the ultimate cause is you and the final effect is your decree. It is a declaration of war against despair and paralysis. You may not see the entire staircase, but you trust that the architect of the universe has designed it, and so you take the first step. You may only have a shovel to move a mountain, but you trust that the one who formed the mountain can empower your shovel or move the mountain himself, and so you begin to dig. This action, this sacred striving, is the key that unlocks the door of divine assistance. For Allah does not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves. And that change begins with a single, sincere, trusting step forward into the unknown, with your heart firmly anchored in the known, the certain, the ever-living, the sustainer,